Welcome into the Meltdown. So happy to have you here live every single weekday, 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern. A majority of us have seen Alien Romulus. We will give you our non-spoiler thoughts and tell you exactly how well it did over the weekend. 10 with Tim will hit on a double-digit number of random topics with our panel, including Taylor Korn of Uncorked. My gosh. That could have been bad. And John is going to profile some of the most picturesque movie posters in existence with another Lunce's List. It's all happening right here on The Meltdown, presented by MyBookie, broadcasting live from the Culver studio.
Two big boys in a tiny studio, teaching you and me about everything they know to make sound. A meltdown, it's the meltdown, time for the meltdown. Coming for the meltdown. Let's start the show.
Welcome into the Meltdown. I was almost a Rockstar trash open there just a couple of minutes ago, but thankfully we are all here. Appreciate all of you loyal Meltdonians for joining us on the show, including my co-host, Mr. John Lunsford. John, how you holding up after the weekend that was?
I'm good. Thank you.
Good. Happy you're good. We have a retro trailer reaction that's been pulled out of the bucket and is ready for review later this week. And it is a movie that was my choice, but is one that is near and dear to your heart.
It is one that is not on streaming, so we have to rent/buy it. And I already own it, as I looked last night to see if I'd already bought it. It is Vegas Vacation. It is one that I think is a very good movie in the grand scheme of comedy movies. It seems like Rockstar and Oosh think differently. But we'll see.
Most people call him Ush or Ush, and you call him Oosh because we have our sound effects.
Yeah,
so
I just call him
all
Oosh.
Different types of names here. We also have producer Tyler here with us. Tyler, Alien Romulus, a movie we saw last Friday. We've had the weekend to digest it. We will get into how well it performed over the course of the past few days. However, I am still in love with this movie. I still think it's the best movie I've seen this year. What do you think?
I plan on seeing it again either tonight or tomorrow, sometime this week, but I'll definitely see it a second or third time.
After the random movie you saw this weekend, you still have an A-list spot left?
I actually don't. I'm booked out for the week.
You're going to pay to see it.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
Well, it should
Who
be...
pays for movies anymore?
Should be a lot of fun there, Tyler. Let us know what you think after your second or third showing. We
Also
also have
all these awful horror movies.
Yes, a lot of awful horror movies for Tyler this year. We also have Taylor Korn of Uncorked, who's joining us for the first portion of today's show. Taylor, Auburn football is almost back, and I know you're excited about that.
Yes, I'm wearing Auburn socks today, and this is a basketball shirt. But starting this Friday, I'll be wearing my football season uniform again, which makes it very easy for me to pick out my outfits. I'll be wearing my Auburn football jersey, which I don't know if it's inappropriate to start it this Friday since it's week 0 and Auburn doesn't play. Like, I wear it on bye week. So is that appropriate?
I think it's appropriate to wear your team's colors at any point. It doesn't even have to. It doesn't have to line
But a
up.
jersey's a little excessive. If I was coming in here in a jersey in June, I feel like that might be overkill.
But see, that's one of the benefits of working here at Disrupt is that it is a sports-centric place to where no one's going to think you look out of line by wearing
Wear a jersey whenever you want to.
Right.
Any day of the week, any time of the year.
Now, I have worked with people in the past that are former athletes that are very adamant that anytime a grown man wears a jersey, no matter the occasion, even at a game, it is a party foul. Do you have that same sort of belief, John? Because you'll wear Preds jerseys to a Preds game, but is hockey different than football?
I do think hockey is different than any other sport.
Okay.
I would rank the appropriateness of wearing jerseys at hockey 1A, baseball 1B, then football, and then pretty low is basketball because you definitely have to wear a T-shirt under it. And, like, you wear a Dirk jersey a lot, but, like, you typically wear a T-shirt under it. A lot of guys don't need to be wearing a basketball jersey, especially if they're, like, super pale, not fit. You know, it's okay for basketball players because they're pretty fit. But
thankfully here at the gun show, I can wear a Dirk jersey anytime I want. I've cut back on the – why did Tyler go, Why did that? That was very audible.
I didn't say anything.
It's very audible. Check the tape. I actually don't wear a ton of Dirk jerseys anymore. I used to wear them a lot more when I'd play pickup games. Now, playing pickup games is not a good idea to wear a Dirk jersey because everybody's like, oh, he must be able to shoot. And then, you know, it's typically
And then
Mid-range
find
only
out.
for me,
Yeah.
and then they find out. So
And that's what
here we
Dirk
go.
was too.
Let's go ahead. It's time for another round of 10 with Tim. But first, I'd like to discuss at least 10 of my teeth. Later today, I'll be visiting the dental team that I trust located on Grants Mill Road, Dr. Jeff and Dr. Brian. Which, by the way, do you know how many teeth an adult human typically has? Anybody?
32.
That is actually correct. It's like you guys had planned that. And we have not planned that. But, yeah, that would be good on Triple Threat Trivia on Wednesdays for sure. That would be worth some points. Dr. Jeff and Dr. Brian over at Alabama Dental Associates, they'll take care of you with the professional dental care that you'd expect. They're extremely flexible with your schedule, with late office hours, Monday through Thursday, along with hours of availability on Friday and Saturday. I love having time in my life for work, dentistry, and poker all on the same day. Dr. Brian, by the way, much nicer in the dental office than he is at the poker table. Does a lot of smack talk. John has witnessed that personally, that's for sure. All jokes aside, they are so friendly and welcoming of all their patients. It's really a great time, so reach out and try them today. Become a patient. They are accepting new patients now at 205-956-8977, or you can visit alabamadental.com, where they look forward to seeing you. Okay, here we go. I've got 10 questions. We've got a panel, and we will start off with Taylor Korn for question number 1. Taylor, who in your opinion is a football team that you have a lot of interest in following outside of the state of Alabama this year? A team that intrigues you, that you have burning questions on, and you want to see how they pan out.
Ooh. I think that I could have multiple different answers for a multitude of reasons,
Yeah.
but I say one is Oklahoma. The schedule, very, very difficult. Obviously, it's their debut as a member of the SEC, which is exciting for Oklahoma fans and Texas fans, but they have a gauntlet of a schedule. So I think that it will be interesting to watch how the fans react if things start to spiral. Because right now, excitement's at an all-time high. Could it plummet? Only time will tell.
That's what football season gives us. So many intriguing storylines going in, and then 2 weeks in, maybe it's a team we're not really that curious about anymore. Maybe we'll have them figured out. Tyler, outside of the state of Alabama, name a team that you're intrigued by to follow this year.
Colorado. I want to see Dion
course,
succeed.
shocker.
He's just so entertaining that I want to see him win it all, and then that way everyone just has to watch him be Dion.
Win it
Hard
all.
pass. Hard
Win
pass.
it all in Colorado.
See, I like it better when he wins like the first 2 games, gets super built up, and then loses every other game, because then there's still plenty of media coverage. He gets super pissy in all of his press conferences, and it's much more entertaining for us.
No, I want to keep the Dion cockiness going the whole season.
Oh, it'll keep going whether he wins or loses, so you don't have to worry about that.
Tyler, just be happy you don't work for CBS. You would not
That's
be
right.
too happy to be following Dion in any capacity. Have you played
Oh,
with
yeah.
Colorado in the new college football game? You played against John. I remember it was Colorado
Yeah.
versus Alabama, and he got the better of you there.
Didn't go well.
No, it didn't. I've played like a couple games as
Okay.
Colorado.
I didn't know if that maybe had redeemed the college football game for you at all. Taylor, have you played the new college football video game?
No, I don't really know much about video. I've obviously learned a lot about it from Twitter, but I don't.
Oh, I thought you were going to say John Lunsford, but
Well,
Twitter works too.
Yeah, that's one of the same kind of
Yeah.
Lunsford on Twitter. But no, I don't have much experience playing video games. I would try it, but I still need to figure out what all the buttons mean.
It's difficult, especially for people who are picking up the controller for the first time in a decade, and that's a lot of people. John, who in your opinion is a football team that you have a lot of interest in following outside of the state of Alabama this year?
Ohio State, 4 reasons. 1, Quinshon Judkins. 2, Caleb Downs. 3, Chip Kelly. And the one that is the biggest name that I cannot wait to see is Seth McLaughlin. I hope he rolls every snap back to the quarterback after what happened last year at Alabama.
If Ryan Day loses to Michigan again this year, is he done?
Possible.
Could it be as
I
easy
feel
as
like you
that?
still can't fire somebody for going 11-1 and losing to Michigan, but I mean, he will not be on everybody's good graces.
Yeah, that's for sure. John, name something a family member loves to watch on TV that you can't stand. And
Seinfeld.
okay, that was quick.
Literally every time Oosh shows up, he goes in there still talking Seinfeld
Ush, but yeah.
with Sean and aka Rockstar, and they talk Seinfeld, start joking Seinfeld, and it's the exact same thing my wife does when she comes. They start talking Seinfeld. Their team was literally the Little Kicks, which is a reference to Seinfeld. I don't care about Seinfeld, but it is the go-to thing. Friends is up there as well, but Seinfeld, easy choice.
Okay. I am also not a Seinfeld fan, so you're not going to hear a lot of grief from me. I found it to be rather quick how quickly you went for your answer, and I was going to tell
Rocky
you.
and Ush were literally talking about Seinfeld right before the show.
Got it.
After the Pennant Grace, so it's all the time.
Tyler, what is a television show that a family member of yours loves to watch on TV that you can't stand?
Yellowstone. I tried to get into it because everyone in my family was just hyping it up so much, and I could not do it. I'd made it maybe halfway through the first episode.
Russell says, OMG, Seinfeld was great. Y'all must be drunk. And then Smuff says, I've got a lot of problems with you people. So, there we go. Taylor, you're probably not going to make anybody angry with your answer here. What's something a family member loves to watch on TV that you can't stand?
Really anything. I mean, I don't have shows that I like. Therefore, I haven't watched enough shows to know what I dislike, I don't think. So it's like I don't really care for anything that anyone watches because I don't watch anything.
You're indifferent about everything when it comes to television programming.
Right. I like watching sports on TV. Other than that, I don't really watch it.
Okay. So you know what you like and you stick with it.
Right.
Do you have someone who's just constantly watching the news and you're like, will you please turn it to sports? Or do you have somebody who...
No, my parents aren't big news people. It depresses my mom, I think. Because it's always sad stories. So she's like, I don't ever want to turn this on unless something crazy is happening. No, we don't have many news people, though.
That's fair. You try to avoid sad stories in sports, but then you'll hear Tom Rinaldi's voice and you're like, oh no, it's about to take a turn. I've tried to avoid this as long as I can. Okay, next question. Taylor, at age 8, what did you want to grow up and do for a living?
Ooh.
At age 8, what were you obsessed with? Potentially going down the career path of becoming a, who knows, maybe it's a royal princess or maybe it's a
princess
doctor,
was never in my cards.
Okay.
But at one point, I did want to be a dentist. That's what I started. College as.
Too
my
bad
major.
you've already done it.
Pre-dental.
Gosh. I
say
can't
it
wait to go
now.
to Alabama Dental Associates here in a couple hours. But anyway.
So that's what my major was. And I went to chemistry class once and that was the end of my dental career.
Okay. Well, great answer. Great answer. Tyler, at the age of 8, what did you want to grow up and be?
I wanted to be a neurosurgeon, and then found out that blood made me real squeamish. So I just didn't go into the medical field.
And I don't mean this as a slight, but John, we played the game of Operation with young Lionel here.
Yes.
And
he did not do very good.
The patient died on the table how many times?
A lot.
And I just think that maybe you shifted in the right direction. That's all I'm saying. But neurosurgeon, I could see it. I could see it.
Oh yeah, that operation guy went in there to get his knee fixed, and I gave him a lobotomy.
You did. I'm glad that you're honest about
And
that.
not even a successful lobotomy. You start sticking things in there, nothing happened. Sorry.
That's what she
There we go.
Yeah, that's what you do in operation. Yeah, sorry.
Mr. John Lunsford, at age 8, other than a Power Ranger, what did you want to be?
Believe it or not, I actually wanted to be a neurosurgeon too, because I was fascinated by
You guys are a different set of 8-year-olds than I was.
getting into people's brains and stuff like that. And I also very much wanted to be an astronaut. I went to space camp and I was terrified. I didn't do it my first space camp, but if I had gone back, there's this giant tank, like water tank, that you have to be able, it's like treating it like it's space, basically, because you're floating in the water, that you have to essentially scuba dive into to learn how to like work on the ship and everything. And I'm terrified of getting that deep into the water. And so that kind of got me off being an astronaut. The whole thing is I wanted to go up, not down into the water, but you had to do that to train. So turned me off of that. And then neurosurgeon, I had to go to like more school than 4 years. So
That is correct.
hard pass.
I went on a Rocky kick at the age of 8 and wanted to be a professional boxer at the age of 8 because I had long arms and I thought that would help me. But
That could have worked.
my uncle, my great uncle, pulled me to the side and said that would be a bad mistake to go down the route of becoming a professional boxer. So, and then next thing you know, we're interviewing Deontay Wilder out there at a paintball tournament. And that was
Wait, what?
Yeah, he wanted me to be a sparring partner, and little 8-year-old me went, yeah, I'll do it. He offered me a job to be his sparring partner.
I was there.
Because
I
he's
saw
like,
it.
you're a good size to be my sparring partner. And I'm trying to think of like what that lifestyle would be like. And it'd be constantly getting punched in the face by Deontay Wilder. And I thought to myself, you know what? at that time of Deontay Wilder's career especially, I'm not interested in that position.
It would have
We're back to my
made
great
good
uncles.
content.
Would have been great content, but we would have never met because I would be dead. Okay, next.
Well, let's call him
And,
back.
and the things that happened next with Deontay Wilder after that prove why Tim did not want to be his sparring partner.
That is also
That's
true.
a story for all the
That's
year.
also true. Deontay was very nice to spend time with us. It was lovely, but having distinct conversations was a tough thing, and so
Yes.
we decided to part ways at that point. Okay, next question.
Yes.
John, if you were to run for political office, what song would you want playing at all of your campaign rallies?
Ooh.
You know, this is
I've
the
thought
one.
about wrestling themes nonstop, but my theme as a
Yeah.
politician, I can't say I've ever thought of.
Let's say you can secure the rights to any song and you've just delivered this great speech and the crowd's there and they're all pumped up and they're ready to go and you've got to hit them with a song that they're like,
Oh my God.
there's balloons dropping, signs. We're in political season.
I have no earthly idea.
I have finally stomped John Lunsford. I didn't stomp him. I don't know what's wrong with my diction today. All over the place.
Were you actually his sparring partner?
Maybe I was. On the side, I am Deontay Wilder's sparring partner.
Oh my gosh.
John, we can come back to you. I didn't think that this could happen.
Come back to me. Let me think.
Tyler, you're not a businessman anymore. You are a politician, and you are delivering campaign rally stops all across this great land. And there's a song that plays at the end of every one of them that gets the crowd fired up. What song is it? So neither one of you have answers.
I've always found it funny when some politicians use Rage Against the Machine as like their theme.
That is funny.
You're like,
Because-
how ironic.
Yeah. So I'd probably go with that.
Okay, just as
Yeah.
an
I
inside
like
joke.
I like the irony there.
Whew, thank you for picking an answer.
Oh, also thank you, James, for the super chat.
Oh, thank
He
you.
says, "Hey Taylor, big fan."
Hey, James.
Wow. Taylor, can you be here every day at 2 o'clock?
Yeah, guys, whatever y'all need.
Excellent. Thank you, James. Appreciate that. Okay. Taylor, if you were to run for political office, what would be the song that plays at the end of every one of your campaign rallies?
So when I think of this, I think about a stadium
Okay.
and the songs that get people excited at a sporting event in a stadium
Love
because
it.
I feel like it's the same type of energy. My favorite song would not be, it wouldn't fit the mood.
What's your favorite
my
song?
favorite song is How to Love by Lil Wayne.
Out of love.
Yeah, I love that song, but
How
I don't
to
think
Love.
that would be good for a political campaign. Or maybe it would.
How to Love. I played a lot of How to Love at the skating rink.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I would have been a fan.
I was a skating rink DJ.
Oh my gosh. Wait. No,
All right,
I wanted
everybody.
to be a DJ.
You wanted to be a DJ?
I still kind of do, yeah.
Let me tell you, there's no better rush than being a skating rink DJ.
So I couldn't do How to Love.
Nachos on sale, $2 for the next hour over in the concession stand.
Did you have to do the barefoot races and
Oh,
stuff?
yeah. No, I entertained the masses with that stuff. Absolutely.
I feel like you'd be good at it.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I need to answer
Now
the
time for
question.
couples skate. Everybody grab a partner. Or if you don't have a partner, you can skate backwards for the next couple of songs. How to Love. Anyway.
So not How to Love. I feel like that's not
Okay. Yeah,
that's
I agree.
not good.
I killed it.
Maybe Mr. Brightside or something. I don't know. You need something energetic.
Ooh, that's an Auburn fan yelling Mr. Brightside. That seems quite ironic in itself, doesn't
Well,
it?
I just think about
To be fair, Alabama's
Classic-
not the only place that does
I
that.
know,
yes,
but
that is
it's
very,
very-
much an Alabama
I
thing,
feel
too.
like she'd try and get the whole crowd to swag surf.
we could do that.
I mean, yeah.
We could do that. I mean, that wouldn't be the worst thing because if I'm running for office, there have been some horrible, horrible things that have happened if I'm a candidate. So that might be what brings us back together.
We do have you on record going, I don't watch the news because it's sad and there's problems there. So
Right.
vote for me. No.
Yeah. No, I would not be a good candidate.
Okay. At least you're honest and transparent. That is a quality that so many people love about Taylor Corn.
Yeah, I wouldn't vote for myself.
Okay. This may come back to haunt you one day. I'm
Vote
just
for me. I'm not going to vote
keep
for
your
myself.
options open, Taylor. John, do you have an answer to this question of what song would be your?
I'm looking through Spotify right now.
That's what I call. I don't.
Wow, you really got him today.
I mean,
You did.
I love he's taking it seriously, but even the music died on the show here.
I feel like I should do something midnight. And so I try to think something midnight or Daft Punk, but I don't know that any of those really work.
Wouldn't use Robot Rock.
America 2?
Heroes.
Maybe.
Because, you know.
Okay.
I'm not
We're
red,
gonna
white, and
move
blue.
on.
I'm red, white, and bruised because I'm working for you guys. I'm out in the field working for you guys.
We're going to move on.
Okay.
Question number 5. I'm going to start off with Taylor on this one. Taylor,
Yes.
name someone that others may consider to be very boring, but that you'd love to have them host a podcast that you could listen to.
So not talk to them, just listen to them talk.
Correct. Basically, you're greenlighting a podcast, or you are becoming a fan of the idea of a podcast of someone who others may think is incredibly boring to listen to, but that you could listen to all day long.
Man, I had an easy choice for this one.
You did?
Yeah.
Maybe I started on the wrong side of the room here. But like, who's someone you find very interesting that maybe isn't looked at as being the most energetic of speakers?
We have a Ryan Brown in the chat. I feel like that's a slight at Ryan Brown, saying he's boring. I would listen to Ryan Brown.
I would listen to Ryan Brown too.
We
See,
do every day.
is this? Yeah, we do every day. Is this? Because I have people that I like, but they already have podcasts, and other people also like them. But then there are people that just it's not their taste. I don't think that they're boring though, but I don't think that answers your question.
Yeah, if they already have
Okay.
podcasts, I'm gonna have to say they're off the table.
Okay, let me think for a second.
Okay, you think? John says he has one ready to go. John, go.
By the way, great. I actually listened to Theo Vaughn for the first time this past weekend. He did a pretty good podcast with Bernie Sanders.
He's great. Theo's great.
I love him so much.
Nick Saban.
Wacky stories.
Easy choice. People think Nick Saban just drones on and is boring, but I would listen to him talk for days on end.
Okay, I thought about that, but then in the back of my mind, I was like,
If you're,
How
an,
many
if you're an
people-
Alabama fan, you put that boring part aside because
Right.
it's Nick Saban. But I feel like the average non-Alabama fan is like, oh, he's so boring. I sit here and talk like this when I do my press conferences. It's just really boring. But like
what he says is good.
when he says is good, and when he goes, he can go and be pretty good. I think he's going to be great on game day. I'm sure a lot of people look at his press conferences and say, oh, he's going to be so boring. But when he's had to kind of turn into more TV personality, he can be pretty good.
I'm thinking of vocal quality, and Mike Leach always had a very boring vocal quality. But the
he's-
things he
he's
would
same.
say were the most insane things I've ever heard, and
Yeah.
he'd somehow deliver them so straightly that where you're like, yeah, I could listen to this man talk about how to survive a bear attack for an hour or something and like
Yeah.
totally be into it.
Yeah.
So that would have been a great answer there. Tyler, do you have an answer off the top of your head?
I do not.
Okay. I thought this one would stump you out of everybody.
Someone said, imagine Rockstar hosting a podcast with KIV and Gus Malzahn.
Where
Okay,
he plays all three
This is
parts.
Rockstar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he plays all three parts. This is a really tricky question. Maybe. See,
Pretty
what
much
comes.
everybody already has a podcast now.
Okay, let
That
me
is
change
true.
it up then. Who's someone that you find fascinating that you think a lot of your peers probably find to be pretty boring?
Anyone that I find fascinating in the sports industry, because a lot of my friends do not care.
Give me one person off the top of your head that you just could listen to, have a conversation with for hours on end, and they would be like, who is this person?
Terrion Arnold.
Okay. There we
But
go.
he's not boring. So, see, this is my
No,
thing.
it
I'm not
works.
answering your question properly, and I apologize.
No one really is, except for John did, technically.
But Terrion, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, am I right? Most people consider Nick Saban boring to listen to just his voice, right?
Yeah, I feel like
yeah,
he's not
I know I'm an Alabama
animated.
person, so it's like, oh, I love Nick Saban, but the average person thinks that.
All right, we're going to move on. Next question. Tyler, when you see an empty bounce house, do you want to get in it?
No, not particularly.
Are you sure?
I'm
Sure you don't give it a second
pretty
look
sure.
and go like, I could kick off my shoes right now, jump in there and take a few
Assuming
hops.
it's inflated.
I was never
inflated.
a big fan of like the birthday parties that pump it up or whatever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not my thing.
Okay. I believe Tyler when he says this. I believe it. But if you ever change your opinion on this, morning, noon, night, doesn't matter, text me and be like, hey, I saw that bounce house. It looked pretty good. I jumped in there, and it was a good time.
Those bouncy slides were pretty cool though.
Yeah.
I was just not a fan of the bounce house that you got in.
Okay.
It's just like just a flat surface. Like, what do? You
bounce.
You just stand there and bounce.
Yeah. It's kind of a fun time. I think we should all do it as a company event. John.
All I'm imagining is Tyler runs across a bounce house. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it just to prove Tim wrong. And he gets in there and somebody's like spilled water all over it and his socks get all wet. This is the worst idea ever. Why did I get in here?
Or it's a perfect experience and he goes, you know what? I shouldn't have discounted this. This
I'd
is
like
a lot
to
of fun.
invest in one of these.
Exactly.
I mean, very much depending where it is, I would definitely jump into it. I mean,
Yeah.
if it's like in a seedy part of town, there's a random bounce house sitting there, there's probably a reason it's empty. Where
Down
it is
past
right
the
now.
tracks where Spud does trivia, there's a random bounce house
Under the bridge.
with a clown with a balloon saying, come on, jump on in. Taylor, bounce houses. If you see one, are you like, you know what, I need to hop on in there?
It depends who's in there. If it's
empty,
empty, I mean, probably not. But if Lincoln's in there, yeah, I'll go
yeah.
jump with him.
Okay. Sounds good. Here we go. Next question. Taylor, what do you love most about the game of soccer?
I love to run. I like running, or I did. For some reason I haven't.
That
been
makes one of us in this room.
Yep.
Yep.
And I don't know. It was freeing. You know what I mean? It's just you're not talking to anyone. You're just running. You can get some anger out if you need to, and it's rewarding.
Your primary role on the soccer field, or as we call it in the industry, the pitch, was what?
To score goals.
That sounds like it's going to be pretty fun compared
Yeah.
to being the defender. Or did you ever play any goalie? Ever have any interest in playing goalie whatsoever?
No, it's just. I mean, it's kind of boring.
Yeah.
If you're not getting much action, you're just kind of standing there. And I don't want to get kicked in the face necessarily.
That would not be fun. Tyler, what do you love most about the game of soccer?
So my favorite thing was the summer season. I liked that more than like the full-sided 11v11 game. I liked playing a 3v3, traveling around.
Which, by the way, there's actually a 3v3, 4v4, and 5v5 mode I found on FIFA that's actually really, really fun. We should try it sometime.
All right.
Throwing that out there.
I mean, I beat you in a series, and all of a sudden you want to change up the game to where I can no longer
I just like having fun.
have any sort of competitive advantage.
I know nobody
against
else
you.
wants to have fun, but
No,
it's
I'm all
fun.
about fun, but I mean, I just, I'd like to be able to consistently get better at the main game before
Okay, that's fine.
we move off to street ball or whatever this is.
So fun.
Street
There
ball.
is FIFA Street. We could play that.
Yeah,
But
don't want to do that.
What do you love
3v3.
most about the game of soccer, John?
When it's over.
When it's over? I thought you loved soccer.
Say what?
I thought you had started really like loving the game
I
of
like
soccer.
playing FIFA because I beat Tyler the first time, and so since then I've enjoyed playing it. But the actual game of soccer, I do not want anything really to do with.
Okay. I appreciate you letting your true feelings out there. I am a soccer coach now.
Oh yeah, how's it going?
Well, it starts tomorrow, and I'm extremely nervous about it.
Wait, oh my gosh. I would love to talk to you about it.
I would love that too.
Okay.
Let's talk tomorrow.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Tyler and I have given him no help, so it's all up to Taylor.
That is
Yeah.
that is the most honest thing
I
that's been
feel
said
like
here.
we've been kind of helpful.
They've
I just
been
like
kind of
how-
a snickering helpful, like
I just like so he asked our poker club for help, and we have a state championship winning basketball coach in our poker club.
That is correct.
And he's like, I just want a whistle from you. And he's done nothing but complain about the whistle since.
Whistle
It's the
doesn't
same
work.
whistle that every high school coach on the planet uses. And he's like, I can't blow on the whistle right.
It doesn't work. I should have brought it.
It's
Are
faulty.
you
It doesn't work. It
are
doesn't-
you sure it doesn't work? Or are you not?
It's like, man, you can't get
Well,
past the
right.
whistle. How are you going to coach
I'm
soccer?
giving it everything I've got, and it's not, and it looks ridiculous. This 7-foot giant out there going, you can't get the whistle to work. How's my team going to respect me if I can't even whistle
Whistle?
properly? So
You got to figure that out.
I got to figure
Are
that
you
out.
trying to just blow or like what? Like
Yeah,
how,
I'm trying to blow in the whistle. That's
I'm asking. I'm asking like how you're doing this because
I am putting the whistle in my right hand. I am taking my right hand
All I
to my
imagine is him
mouth.
sticking the whole thing in
I'm
his mouth and trying to blow into it.
I'm putting my lips around the whistle, leaving the vent part ready to be, because the air's got to go somewhere.
Right.
And I blow. It is a P-less whistle. I know this. P-E-A-L-E-S-S whistle. And when I blow, it does nothing. It brings up, like my daughter looks at me with zero respect when I blow into it. So, next question. Tyler, how do you like your eggs cooked?
I prefer over medium.
Over medium. Okay, that's a little bit of a wild card. Taylor?
Scrambled.
Scrambled all the way for me.
Believe it or not, over medium.
Over medium.
Yep.
I didn't realize how popular of a choice that was.
It's a good balance between like a runny yolk and a jammy yolk. It's good. And you got a piece of toast on the side to mop up the yolk.
To mop up.
Yeah.
I like that too, but scrambled.
Scrambled all the way. Ketchup with eggs? Anybody?
Gross.
I put Tony's
Yeah.
seasoning.
Yeah, totally gross.
I go Cholula hot sauce.
I like it.
That was a popular choice in the chat today.
Question: This came up on the live show today.
I don't remember exactly why it came up, but they were talking about scrambled eggs, and they made a comment that scrambled eggs is the easiest to make. I think scrambled eggs are the easiest to make, but the hardest to get right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because
I feel like
you can definitely make them dry and just nothing and just go, and then you're done.
the flipping of I feel like it's might be hard sometimes to flip the egg without busting the
Yeah.
yolk. I don't know. I don't really make eggs often.
I don't either.
I really don't either.
Next question, Taylor. Do you believe money can buy happiness?
In a sense, I think that you can have a lot of money and be unhappy, but I think that if you are in financial distress and someone gifts you a large sum of money, it will in turn make you happier because you're not, struggling.
All of a sudden problems start to dry up, and maybe you encounter a new set of problems, but they aren't.
Right. I don't think that it's in direct correlation. It is your money's here and your happiness is here, but I think that it can help make you happier. Like money can buy a trip to the beach, and I'm happy at the beach.
There you
go.
go.
It can also bring problems.
It
So
can,
in a way,
for sure, it is a very convoluted sort of a set of emotions around the use and thought of money. Tyler, do you believe money can buy you happiness?
It can solve the problems that are money related, but if your problem is not being happy, just being by yourself or something like that, then money's not going to fix that. But if you're working really hard and stressing about paying all your bills on time, then yeah, a lot of money would definitely help with that.
John, can money buy happiness?
Money can buy you happiness. Money does not always buy you happiness.
That sounds like a damn good fortune cookie if I've
yeah,
ever
that's
heard one.
theoretic, or is that theoretic?
Just
Theoretical.
land the plane.
Philosophical.
Yes,
Yes.
very philosophical. That's perfect. All right, last question here. John, what is your biggest pet peeve when it comes to the way that other people drive? I believe we've talked about blinkers before, about whether or not you use a blinker. So anything other than a blinker. Anything other than a
list. But probably near the top of that list, other than blinker would be driving in the left lane if you're not passing. Do not drive in the left lane. It is technically illegal to drive in the left lane if you're not passing.
Do you think anyone's been pulled over for that?
Probably not. But I say that to my wife all the time because we'll share driving down to Disney, and she always drives I-10, which typically doesn't have a lot of traffic on it. But she'll get in the left lane, and people will pass her on the right. And I'm like, get over in the right lane. You're not supposed to be in the left, because I think it's illegal in Florida too. And she's like, nobody's going to pull me over for just driving in the left lane. And I'm like, you're probably right. I'm just telling you what the law actually is. I mean, there's all kind of stupid laws in Alabama, technically, that are, people don't really abide by. But
almost no one will get angry if you're driving slower in the right lane and they're passing you. I mean, they'll get a little agitated. But if you're driving slow in the left lane, or you're driving in a position in the left lane where you're blocking other people from passing, they get violent.
The left lane exists to pass. It does not exist to just drive in. And people do it all the time. And I come down 459 every day. It's about a 10-mile stretch that I drive. And I'm in the left lane for most of it, but I am constantly passing. And the minute I stop passing, I get
Back
over.
over again.
But 9 times out of 10, when I get over, I'm passing somebody on the right.
Tyler, what is your biggest pet peeve when it comes to the way other people drive? Mine is blinkering.
Other than blinkers, it's got to be when there's a keep moving sign and someone stops at it. Like, that's the one thing the sign said not to do. You can go straight, you can go left, you can go right, you can speed up, slow down, but you stop. That's the one thing you can't do. The world was your oyster, and you chose to stop.
I was driving 280 the other day, and there was a person that needed to get all the way over from the left side of 280 all the way to the right side of 280. So what did they do? They got in the middle lane, stopped to see if they could then cut all the way over to the right, but them stopping, the traffic did not stop behind them, and I was in that traffic that was in that middle lane, and so we all just had to slam on our brakes while this person decided whether or not it was okay to try to get all the way over with no room to spare, and it was quite frustrating. So I get what you're saying there, and personally for me, I have started to despise when you're at a stop sign and it's a 3-way stop or a 4-way stop, and you clearly have shown up last to the bunch or something, or you clearly it's not your turn to go, so
You're
you
trying
stop,
to be nice and wait.
and you're waiting, and then they get mad at you with flashing their lights or waving you like, why aren't you going? And it's like, because the minute I go, you're going to go because you have the right of way, and then next thing you know, I'm going to get T-boned. And I'd rather you just follow the rules instead of trying to be Mr. Nice Guy who then's going to pull up on me and get frustrated that I am then going by taking your order. Anyway,
Wow.
I know it's intense. I experience this a lot.
I know it's impossible to actually make this happen, but I think people should have to take the written aspect, like the written test you take when you get your permit. You should take a written driving test every 4 years.
So you're going to run on that campaign platform, because then
Hell
no
no.
one's going to hear your campaign song.
Hell
'Cause they're
no.
going to be like, hell no.
I'll just do "Shut Up and Drive" by
Yeah.
Rihanna as my song.
All right, Taylor, what's your biggest pet peeve when it comes to the way other people drive minus blinkering?
I have two. One is when if I have nowhere to go, if I'm driving and I have nowhere to go, there's cars in front of me and I'm doing what I can, and someone is riding you, like, get back. It stresses me out because I'm like, if I tap my brakes a little bit, they're going to smash into the back of my car, but I can't go anywhere. Or because sometimes I just like to drive. I'm not going fast. I'll just go the speed limit. If I'm not ready to get out of my car, I'll put cruise control on the speed limit and I'll just listen to music and enjoy my drive. And I stay all the way in the right lane. There's 2 other lanes to the left, and I'm not going under. I'm not going to go under the speed limit. But it's the same thing. They get frustrated. I'm like, hey, dude, there's 2 other places for you to
By the way,
go.
it looks like you have no hands right now, so it's making it that much more intense when you're like,
Sorry.
No, it's no, you aren't doing anything
drive?
wrong.
Yeah.
But it's like,
No.
I wave them along. It's like you have no hands. Anyway.
I had another one, but now I'm forgetting what it was. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I had another one at some point, but that one.
Well, you have my permission that at any point today, if you think of it and you want to pop in here and say it, you just come running back in and go, I've got it. And then you
Okay.
can say it out loud.
I'll try and think about it.
So tell us what you got going on with Uncorked. It is a channel that you can subscribe to right here on the Disrupt Media platform. Talk to us about Uncorked and what you got planned for the season coming up.
So I have been over the past few months,
Yeah,
I
since
guess.
spring.
Yeah, since spring, the end of basketball season, I was doing some travel stuff when I was traveling for basketball season. And then recently I've done a Auburn season preview with a bunch of different people, some Auburn commits, some former players, and then other media personalities, just talking about what we can expect for this upcoming season. And then a lot of content from game days coming up soon. So you never know what you're going to get.
It's going to be a lot of fun for sure. Make sure you subscribe to Uncorked for this upcoming football season, as there will be tons of content there. Taylor, thank you for stopping by, and we appreciate your presence getting us a super chat, because that's always lovely. So
Thanks for having me.
if you happen to stop back by in, we may get another super chat, so that may be the way it works. Thank you, Taylor, very much. Taylor
Thank you.
Corn, everybody. Appreciate you being here, playing 10 with Tim. All right. It is now time to talk about the weekend box office. As we officially have the numbers here, August can often be very slow for the movie business. And it is a place where a lot of studios maybe put things that didn't pan out too well in those release slots. We've seen that with Borderlands. We're seeing it maybe with a couple of movies coming out this weekend, as the best of the summer season is behind us for sure here. However, this past weekend was something that was good for the movie business. It's over 30% ahead of the same weekend last year, up over 10% from August 2019. So that is something to be proud of when it comes to the theatrical exhibition industry, as Alien Romulus ended up in that top spot with $41.5 million. It is the latest installment in the 45-year-old franchise, and it opened in first place there. 20th Century Studios, which is a Disney studio, is who's behind this. They get the number 1 and number 2 spots this weekend.
With 2 very hard R movies.
2 very hard R movies.
Always funny to say that.
And I went back and watched Alien 3 and Alien 4, Alien Resurrection, I guess most people call it, this past weekend because all the Alien movies are on Disney+. And Alien 3 is awful, and Alien 4 is really, really, really bad. I think I like 4 maybe a little bit more than 3, but there are parts of both that I just absolutely cannot stand. Alien and Aliens are both wonderful. I really like Prometheus. I know it's a dividing line between a lot of Alien fans. John, if you were doing a Lunch's list of 5 favorite Alien movies, Prometheus would be by far the number 1 for you.
I've only seen 4, so I would rank it Prometheus 1, Alien 2, Alien Romulus 3, Alien vs. Predator 4.
Do you plan on watching Aliens at some point?
That is the only one I really care to go back and watch.
Yes.
I
So,
would feel like
at
you'd
some
actually
point.
really like that one.
Because then I can actually have a Lunch's list.
Really like...
Compared to the others.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
maybe not compared to Prometheus, but compared to...
I mean, overall, I give a
Alien
thumbs
and
up to
Romulus.
3 of the 4.
Yeah. But really like, I don't know. You know, I'm glad that Romulus was something that you were honest about. I said, if you're honest about it, there are things you're going to like about this movie.
There's one thing I absolutely despise about the movie.
I know there's some use of some computer-generated
I'm with you on that
imagery
one.
in the movie that doesn't trick the eye. And we're not there yet.
It's like you're on a PS5 and someone randomly put a PS1 character in there.
It's not that bad.
I didn't think it was that bad.
It's more like,
Pretty bad.
It was just like too smooth, uncanny valley.
yeah.
It wasn't. It wasn't polygon based.
I compared it to Tarkin in Rogue One, and I really feel that way. I feel like sometimes it does look great, and then sometimes it looks really bad. And it is worth a half a star deduction for me. I know it dropped a whole point for you based on that, but it was worth a half star deduction. I've got it at a 4.5 out of 5. It is currently my favorite movie of the year, Alien Romulus is. And I thought it was just a fun thrill ride of a movie, for sure. I know Lance went to go see it, and I was hoping that he would enjoy it, and he told me he did. And I'm happy to report back on that. Tyler, we talked at the beginning of the show about how you plan to see it potentially multiple more times. And I'm glad that it did as well as it did here in the number 1 spot. It only cost $80 million to make compared to a lot of these budgets that have been completely out of control. It does not look that bad, John.
It is nowhere near PS1.
I just Googled PS1 face, and that was the first thing that came up. It's not quite that bad, but it's close.
You did. Come on, man. That's movie tie-in game at that.
Yeah, that's not. It's not that bad.
That's a bad faith argument.
Did you enjoy some of the performances in Alien Romulus like I thought you would?
I enjoyed 1, and I got to remember the dude's name, but it's the one that played the android.
Andy.
He was fantastic.
It actually got me to watch that show Industry that's on HBO because he is in that show. And so I'm kind of interested before because the girl that played Amy Winehouse is in it. Not that I cared about that movie necessarily. Kit Harington.
You weren't missing anything.
Kit Harington's in it. So there's like some names, and then I saw that guy. And when I looked him up before, I was like, oh, he's pretty good. I'm going to see what else he's done. That's really the only thing I saw that I actually knew of that he was in. And he's pretty good in it too. So he's a pretty good actor. There's a certain person in Hollywood I think he could have a good chance of replacing.
Kang.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
That I think that could be a good fit.
I agree.
It's a very limited filmography for now, but as he grows, I think
it's the best performance I've seen in film this year was his performance in that movie.
I don't know if I go that far, but it's up there.
Gosh, it was so good. So good. Fede Alvarez directed this movie set around the same time of Alien and Aliens, right sandwiched in between the two, and recruited a cast of up-and-coming 20-somethings to lead the cast. David Johnson is fantastic in this movie. And do you want to see more Fede associated with the Alien franchise, Tyler? Is that something you'd sign off for immediately?
Yes. He mentioned possibly trying to direct an Alien versus Predator movie with the director of Prey.
I still think that it was a joke. It was tongue-in-cheek the way he sort of answered that, saying he'd do half the movie and he'd let him do the other half. But, I think he is what comes across is he's a huge fan of this franchise, and you can feel it. And he wanted Ridley Scott's approval, and I think he kind of begrudgingly got it. And Ridley Scott thinks all of his stuff is perfection. Basically, every director, I guess, does in some capacity.
Ridley Scott is so hit or miss. His hits are
is.
absolute grand slams. His misses are total whiff at the plate.
The movie made $108.2 million globally. Once again, cost $80 million to produce. This will be a financial hit for Disney. It'll be a good thing for them. The question is, how big of a hit will it be? How much does word of mouth generate a week two success? I don't see The Crow or, was it called Blink Twice?
Yes.
Blink
I don't
Twice,
think either one of them.
Darling is also coming out this weekend.
None of those movies are in contention to win the number one top spot.
No.
Does Deadpool and Wolverine somehow sneak back into that top spot? I don't.
Possible.
I don't think so, but it's going to be an interesting box office weekend because I think Alien will hold pretty well because word of mouth I think is going to be strong on it. Deadpool and Wolverine did slip to the number 2 spot for the very first time since it came out, as the Walt Disney Company once again owns 20th Century Studios, claiming the top 2 spots on the charts with Deadpool and Wolverine in its 4th weekend, taking second place with $29 million. Disney has been responsible for 42% of the industry summer box office haul, with Inside Out 2 and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, along with Alien, Romulus, and Deadpool and Wolverine. A lot of people were ready to go ahead and throw the dirt on top of Disney's casket.
I thought they were dead.
And John, Disney is the thing that is, they're the company right now that are looked at as the big winners. And they have more potential huge hits coming out this year with Moana 2 and with Mufasa. Even though I'm not sold on Mufasa, it's not doing it for me.
I'm not either, but I feel like
it's going to be
a movie like that
hit.
is always going to make money. Now, is it going to be $1 billion movie? Maybe not that much, but
the 2019 Lion King, I believe, was over $1 billion.
It was. I mean, you make $500 million on that compared to a lot of Disney things. You're like, yeah, it didn't do very good. It still probably made money if it makes $500 million. I'm trying to think what else they could potentially have because it's hard with Fox to remember all the stuff they actually have because, once again, Alien and Deadpool being at the top. Hard to think of those as Disney movies, but Disney has already pretty much won the year. They will ultimately win the year because number 1 and number 2 right now are absolute Disney movies with an MCU movie and a Pixar movie, but, they've made the whatever you want to say, argue about Star Wars and Lucasfilm. Ultimately, financially, they have made very good acquisitions with all of their stuff with Pixar, with Lucasfilm, with Marvel, and now with Fox.
Yep. I do believe that for sure. We got a comment here in the chat from Jeff saying, I couldn't find Aliens on Disney+. It is right here included with your Hulu subscription. So I guess you have to have a Hulu subscription in order to be able to see this stuff, but it's all blended in for me because I've got the bundle.
It's all technically Disney.
So you can watch it on Disney+, but you've got to have a Hulu subscription. So that may be why you're not finding it. But it is, you can use that platform to watch it. Okay, as we move on to number 3 this past weekend, It Ends With Us, a really strong showing yet again, even though it dropped over 50%. It's still holding strong with $24 million in weekend number 2. A lot of people going into this production would have been thrilled to have had $24 million for weekend number 1 for a movie like this that costs so little to produce. And it is still a movie that is leading to a lot of different hearsay about the frustrations between the creators and the stars and the director and its main female star. And John, all of that didn't seem to do anything that derailed people from going to see this in week number 2, all that online chatter.
I'll be honest, if we weren't doing a pop culture based show where it would have come up, or if it weren't for my wife, I would have never heard anything about any of this.
Yeah.
So it's something that I feel like the average person, like
corners of the internet are obsessed with it, but the average moviegoer has no idea going.
my mom
in.
went to go see it this weekend, said she loved it. She had no idea about any of that kind of stuff. I had to explain it to her at the kickoff party. So it's done well. And the only problem is, did you love it so much you want the sequel? Because that's where then the fighting back and forth could come in, because it's between the two main stars who ultimately have to be there for the sequel.
Justin Baldoni has hired a PR crisis team, and if he sits down and does a tell-all interview about how awful of a person Blake Lively is or something, that could be huge. But it'll be after the theatrical run for It Ends With Us, I promise you that.
Yeah.
So we shall see. But John, both of us, we're not the target demo for It Ends With Us, but we both highly recommend this movie.
Yep.
I think it turned out really, really well. Twisters remains in the top 5. It is at number 4 with a little less than $10 million. And I think we all sort of still feel the same about Twisters this many weeks out. It was a fun thrill ride of an experience. It's a lot like Alien Romulus in that it does a lot to sort of be an indirect sequel that has its own cast of characters, its own story it's telling, that's part of the franchise, but isn't necessarily a direct tie-in. I think Twisters is a really good crowd pleaser. I'm glad it's done so well. I'm glad it's still in the top 5, but I haven't done a lot of thinking about Twisters after having seen it.
I haven't thought anything about it unless whenever Glenn Powell gets brought up in pop culture, and it's like, what was the last thing he did? Oh, Twisters. That's right.
Yeah.
And then I move on.
Glenn Powell.
Even I have Alien ahead of Twisters. So.
Big box office draw.
I know you hate Glenn Powell, John, but he's going to be on Family Guy, and J.J. Abrams is going to cast him as the lead in his next movie, along with, is it Zendaya? Zendaya and Glenn Powell?
So he went from
Sydney
Sweeney to Zendaya?
I don't know if I'm right about that or not. It's an actress that I know you have an affinity for, and I want to say it was Zendaya and Glenn Powell.
John will be in agony.
You can tell me if I'm right or wrong.
I honestly don't remember.
Anyway, I'll look into it. But if that happens...
I just Googled Glenn Powell, J.J. Abrams, and everything is about Harrison Ford starring in J.J. Abrams' next film, which I don't know what that is. Jenna Ortega. That's what it was.
Oh, Jenna Ortega.
In this movie?
Mm-hmm. Jenna Ortega and Glenn Powell are set to star in J.J. Abrams' next film. Abrams wrote the script. Bad Robot's producing. Plot details are being kept hush. Now we have reports that Harrison Ford is being eyed to join the film. Of course, he's already worked with him before. Of course, he was in Star Wars.
There's a chance maybe it's some other project that I'm thinking of, but I'll look into that. I will get more concrete information. But either way, the Glenn Powell push continues. Coraline ended up in the top 5, which is awesome for a re-release of its sort. There's not a ton of family content out right now that hasn't been lingering for a long time. Inside Out 2's been lingering for a long time. Despicable Me 4's been lingering for a long time. Coraline did a good job of drawing in some family audiences here in the top 5. Fathom Events put on this movie over 1,500 screens for its 15th anniversary, where it made $11.3 million in 4 days and $8.6 million from Friday through Sunday. The stop-motion animated film was an adaptation of a novel written and directed by Henry Selick, and it marked the first ever release for the person behind this. It'll be in theaters until August 22nd, and this is a movie I know that your wife plans to see in theaters, John.
Yeah, we're going to start high school football this week, so she's like, well, I got nothing to do on these nights now, so I'm going to go see Coraline. It's like, well, there's multiple new movies that open up. You don't see The Crow, you don't see Blink Twice. She's like, hard pass. Usually I'm the one having to say hard pass to these hard R horror movies or whatever, but she's the one saying hard pass now. That's how bad these are going to do this weekend.
Let's talk about The Crow. Let's talk about The Crow, because it needs to be discussed.
Do we have to?
I might go see Coraline this weekend.
Well,
even Tyler is like, I go see Coraline too.
I missed it when it originally came out in theaters,
Actually,
and it is a really solid stop motion movie.
Its run ends Thursday, so Thursday's your last chance to see it.
All right, I'll try and see it this week.
Borderlands, which was produced by Lionsgate, dropped all the way to number 9, made $2.4 million. This is a movie that cost $120 million plus to make, and it has only made $13.5 million. This is Horizon Chapter 1 level badness, is what we're seeing with Borderlands.
There's no way Horizon is worse than this movie. Now, financially,
I'm not going to find out.
Financially, they're in the same boat.
They're in the same boat, but there's no way that it's actually a worse movie than Borderlands.
They have not announced a Borderlands 4. That's the only difference between this and Horizon and how poorly it did.
At least they waited to see first.
Yeah. But Lionsgate produced Borderlands.
At least they had video games to make money for it.
Lionsgate losing this amount of money on this movie is really bad, and they're not going to make it up with The Crow, because The Crow, I think, is going to be their second blunder in the month of August. Because I am personally looking kind of forward to seeing The Crow. I think it'll be fun. I'm sorry. To me, it looks like Hot Topic John Wick, and I'm all about it. Let's go.
Gross.
That's what it looks like to me, and I'm ready for it.
That's intriguing to you?
It looks like it could be fun. It looks like it could be fun. But
tell me all about it.
It's not going to do well. I'm sure the critics are going to eviscerate it and I'm sure that it's going to wash away as quickly as all the fake tattoos on the title character. So, Tyler, are you kind of amped up for The Crow, or do you think it's going to be an absolute train wreck?
I think it's going to be a nightmare. This is going to be terrible.
But you're going to go see it.
You got great value Lil Peep as the lead, and it's just going to be rough. It looks so unnecessarily edgy, even for an adaptation for The Crow.
You can tell me all about this one. I will not be seeing it.
Hunter said Borderlands was a 10 out of 10 for me. LOL, just kidding. No. Okay. Yeah. You got me. Okay, that's going to do it
Had us in the first half.
That's going to do it for your box office recap.
I started looking through. I was like, what else do they have this year that could potentially make up for it? And the first two things I saw they had is Megalopolis, which I don't think is going to make a ton of money, but could do okay just because it has a giant cast, at least compared to these. And then Ballerina. So I didn't realize they actually did John Wick too. So
yep.
You know.
They actually announced a John Wick Chapter 5.
Yeah, even though certain things happened at the end of the last one, but
supposedly Keanu Reeves is back for John Wick Chapter 5.
No doubt.
And I don't know. Well, you can't do John Wick without John Wick, but I don't know what Ballerina will do, honestly. Because I mean, he's in it, but
a lot of it's going to depend on the marketing.
If the marketing is about him, or if it's just about Andy Armas, that's the main character in it. If it's just about her, and then there's like a quick little. It's like the Moana trailers. It's been interesting to me that all the Moana trailers have had Maui for like 3 seconds at the end. Both trailers, where you think The Rock would be a marketable person, that's a big character from that movie. It's weird that they haven't marketed Maui in that movie at all. I'm kind of curious what they do with something like John Wick, if they'll throw him in for like a quick second at the end, like, oh, and Keanu Reeves is in this too. Cool.
I'm still shocked that Borderlands made $200,000 more than the movie Stree 2 this weekend, whatever that is.
I assume that's one of the Bollywood releases.
After the events of Stree 1, the town of Chanderi is being haunted again. This time, women are mysteriously being abducted by a terrifying headless entity. Once again, it's up to Vicky and his friends to save their town and loved ones.
Tyler, it sounds like you need to go see Stree 2.
The poster for it looks just like Stranger Things.
Speaking of posters.
Look at the poster for it. It's just like Stranger Things.
Yeah, it's super, super, super duper.
Anyway.
John.
It is an indie movie, yes.
We are trying to get in shape for when we have our next poster shoot. And Way to Wellness is helping us accomplish that. Who knows? Maybe we'll have a Meltdown calendar at some point.
Yeah, go to our friends at Way to Wellness, visit aplanforme.com. You too can find a plan that'll work for you. Like I have a plan that works for me. Tim has a plan that works for him. There's Leslie in the background, her whole board certified team helping us out there. As you see, Mia weighing in, dropping the pounds. We're over 90 combined pounds down. You too can be there just like I am, just like Tim is, just like Jim Dunaway is, just like my dad is. Go to aplanforme.com. Learn more about our friends at Way to Wellness.
John loves the visual side of movies, and typically movies are remembered and represented through the posters that hang on the wall, whether they're outside the theater, in the Primetime Poker Club, or hanging inside this studio. We need to know which ones John loves to love on another edition of Luntz's List.
What is this? What is this? Luntz's List, Luntz's List, oh. What is this? What is this? Luntz's List, Luntz's List, oh. Luntz's List to buy. Luntz's List to buy. Luntz's List to buy. Luntz's List to buy.
Alrighty, John, I need you to name the 5 movie posters you have always loved the design of. We will take your comments in the chat as well. Are there movie posters that pop to your mind where you're like, man, that may be my favorite movie poster of all time? And I've asked John to please include photos in this, and I've told John they don't have to be great movies as long as you are crazy about the poster. So they can be god-awful movies as long as you love the poster. That's what matters here. It's the quality of the poster.
You could even include the Acolyte poster, John.
Oh, gosh.
Not a movie, but...
Technically couldn't.
Oh.
But I like the joke.
But trust me, that was running through my head the whole time. So I came up with a long list, and I picked 5 out of it, but I have a lot of honorable mentions that I feel like, I can't believe you didn't include this on there, that I do very much like the poster, but I do think a movie being good and it sticking with me makes me see the poster more, makes me appreciate the poster more because of what you didn't see in the movie. And the poster can work more because a movie is good. Now, these are not my top movies of all time necessarily, But I would say these are all movies I like, and I do think the movie helped me appreciate the poster a little more.
Is there any poster in here that will be popping up on your list?
A couple honorable mentions, but no.
Okay. Well, in that case,
That is my number 6.
come on. The Jaws poster, I don't know. Can we get a shot on it? Do we have a
we
shot
do
on
not
it?
have
I got to
an
move the
angle
camera, and I got to
Oh,
log
it's
in
okay.
again.
It's okay. Everybody knows what the Jaws poster
Everybody
looks
knows what the
like.
Jaws poster looks like, and no, Across the Spider-Verse is not, but Into the Spider-Verse, where he's falling back, upside down into the city. I really like that poster as well. The Across the Spider-Verse one is cool. I'm honestly not a fan, so this is, for the most part, stuff that will not fall onto Luntz's list, of how many characters can we possibly cram on the poster at once. I don't know who the first was to do that, of like, we're going to put every, like, kind of what you see with like the Avengers posters and stuff like
Batman
that.
Returns, maybe?
Like, you know, I feel like if I looked into it, I could figure it out. I didn't really care to look that much into it. But, you know, somebody started that, and then somebody thought it was cool, and then the studio started doing that. And now that's how almost every poster I feel like is, if it has any kind of ensemble cast whatsoever.
You see the movie case there for Batman Returns?
Yeah.
So that's the first time I remember that being done, where like comic book characters were put over, and then Batman Forever had them all lined up under Batman's cape with Robin, and even had Nicole Kidman on there, and Tommy Lee Jones and the Riddler.
So there's one I have on here that is a teaser poster that was released. It's not like, because, you know, there's a lot of fan made posters and stuff I could pull. I could pull up Boss Logic and find a million posters that I love. But, like, there's one teaser poster that then the main poster that once the movie actually released, they actually sent out, was the first one I remember. And I actually had the poster for it, and I'll get to it in a second, that had, like, everybody, and with like the bad guy in the background overlooking everybody, and then kind of basically in order of star power, bigger down to little down at the bottom. But yeah, it's just not, it's just, like, can you make it look good? Sure. But there's no thought put into it when it's just like, how can we cram as many faces on there as possible? Because then you basically have to choose a color for the background, and that's it. So with that said, let's move on to number 5.
You should have ample amount of marker choices today. EG's in London, so I mean, she can't take your marker today. But have we gotten it across that EG stole our marker mid-show one day where we needed it for the rest of the show? I think we've gotten that point across. Speaking of EG, we go to ET.
And no, it's not Robert E.T. You know, this is the...
I would like a poster of that here.
Yes. This is the Spielberg, you know, back and forth that we have. You're everything with Jaws, I'm everything with E.T. It is
Explains who we are.
It is what we are. Now, there's 2 for E.T. So I like this one, personally, which is basically a shot of the moon real big with the bike with Elliot and E.T. on it flying. That's like such an iconic image. It's what Amblin uses for kind of their look. It's something that has stuck with Spielberg, obviously, for a long time, and it's just an iconic shot. I do also like, whoops, hold on, I lost my thing. I do also like this poster as well. That's the finger touching above the earth. Obviously, E.T. with his finger kind of plays into that and everything. But overall, I probably like the bike one the best. E.T. is my favorite movie of all time. And kind of knowing how that scene plays out within the movie and then seeing it on the poster and everything, that's why it's something that definitely makes my list. But I do very much like it. And like I said, that imagery is something that has stuck for a long time.
Do you want to see an ET sequel?
Absolutely not.
Like you really would hate it all the way through? Like even if Spielberg was behind it?
Spielberg has some clunkers in there. I mean, Spielberg is Spielberg the greatest of all time? Yes. Does he have plenty of clunkers? Also, yes. Does he have more incredible things than everybody else? Also, yes. It just leave it alone. It's been 40 plus years. Don't, because the thing is, you can't.
You know they want to remake that one.
I'm sure they do, but you cannot do it. Like, you literally cannot do it the way it would have to be done, and the way it would have been done in the 80s if they had just gone, you know, like, oh, this is good, let's go with it. You just can't do it.
I think if Stranger Things had not been made, that we would have probably already seen an ET sequel. Like, I think it probably pushed away an ET sequel because it fit that same sort of mold of satisfying that audience.
It did, but I also feel like it's very much responsible for bringing the 80s back, too. So,
Double-edged sword.
yeah, I don't know.
All right.
But absolutely not. See, I mean, you know, Jaws, they couldn't stop. And I feel like it kind of diminished things eventually with it.
Jaws 2, I have a soft spot in my heart for. Jaws 3 is awful. Jaws 4 is I almost want to put Jaws 4 in the popcorn bucket so we can have a really good time because it is one of the most nonsensical scripts in the history of cinema.
Tim, that movie is unwatchable.
It's.
I've already got to deal with Tyler's movies. Please don't put something like
Jaws
that in there.
4, The Revenge, this time it's personal, is very, that's the tagline. I read it like I go to a Ross Dress for Less. It is so nonsensical how that movie came to be and the telepathy that Miss Brody has, and it's amazing how bad that is. And I would almost love for John to see it so that way. You know what John would do though? He'd hold it against the original. He'd be like, "This is why Jaws sucks." That's what he'd do. And so that's why I can't put it in the bucket.
Yeah.
All right.
The sharks were like committing premeditated murder in Jaws 4.
Try to fly away from them to another, like a remote part of the Bahamas or something.
They'll swim after you.
Sharks gonna get there. So they somehow beat them there. All right. Let's move on to number 4.
But when I trash stuff, this is what I'm talking about. Anyway, number 4.
Jaws 4, The Revenge. Oh, my gosh. It's tough. There's no defending that movie. Speaking of number 4. So bad.
Number 4, A New Hope. That's a good pick.
Ooh. I don't know if this is the Star Wars movie I'd go with, but let me see. Is this the old school one with
may not be the only Star Wars movie on the list.
Oh, okay.
I really like the old Revenge of the Jedi posters they made before they changed the name to Return of the Jedi.
Can I count that since it's technically not the name of it? So I have this poster hung up in my basement. It's one of the first things you see when you walk in the door. It's well drawn. I like the whole Luke with way bigger, muscles than he actually had in the movie, holding up basically the lightsaber, and kind of has that Kylo Ren lightsaber look to it if you really think about it, with kind of the cross, you know. This is the first one I can remember with Darth Vader's, or with the bad, like Jaws, the quote-unquote bad guy is very prevalent, obviously. But how I mentioned, with a lot of things with all the heads on it, the bad guys in the back, kind of like looming over everything. You have that with Darth Vader in the back. The X-Wings and all flying up to the Death Star. Everything about it is just really, really well done and classic, and it's tough to beat that.
I feel very passionately that I almost have to hear your entire list to know, because I want to make arguments for maybe other Star Wars posters, and I need to know which direction you're going. So I don't know when we'll get there.
You're not going to like my 1.
Oh, okay.
You'll probably like my 2 and 3, I think.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get to number 3. That is classic, that Star Wars poster for sure. It's kind of the only one they did that art style for. Move on to number 3.
Skull Island.
Man, I don't even remember this poster.
Yeah, I don't know
what that
skull?
Looks like. It's a skull on the poster, right?
Well, there may have been one of that, but that's not what.
Oh, okay.
It's.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of got a Vietnam look to it. Kong's in the background with that sun behind him. The color palette on it. The kind of flying V of soldiers marching in the water. I love this poster. This is something I actually had on my phone for a little bit. The movie was good, but I wasn't more of a Godzilla person. But I had this on my phone for a long time because I loved it so much.
It's a great poster.
It's a really good poster. And a good movie as well. But compared to all the Godzillas, and there's some good Godzillas, and there's a lot of really good alternate posters or fan-made posters around Godzilla, especially from the Japanese Godzilla movies. But this is a really, really good poster.
Love the choice. I really do. I would not have thought of this one right off the top of my head. But
there was one that was like a skull. I think it was kind of like the teaser poster for it.
That sounds
right.
right.
I kind of know what you're talking about.
But has there ever been a movie where you didn't necessarily like the original poster, but the IMAX poster blew you away?
I believe it's episode 7. They did a really good, it was like a orange and like a blue kind of poster, like hand-drawn IMAX poster. Because once again, Star Wars, for the most part, from the prequels on, have done kind of the all faces on there for like their main posters. I can't remember. I had it as my phone background too. Let me see if I can find it. What was episode 7? Force Awakens.
I went to a early screening of the opening scene of Dark Knight Rises 6 months before the movie came out. And they handed out Bane posters, and they looked amazing. Yeah, yeah.
And there's like an orange one that's like Ray. Like this is Poe, I think, and then there's one that's like Ray. It's really good.
And I love the Bane poster. I've got it. I just haven't brought it in, but
That's what it is.
yeah.
Like just, I mean, it's just different. I like the different. Like I don't know if y'all do this at all, but on Letterboxd you can go in and change the poster.
Yeah.
I have changed almost every single poster
Yeah,
off what the actual theatrical one is.
Every time I look at your list, I think, dang,
What movie is
John's
that?
list has cooler posters than mine.
Yeah.
There's like a little drop down. If you click the little 3 dots, we hover over the movie. There's like a heart for liking the movie. There's a little eye to show that you've seen the movie. You click 3 dots and change poster. There's so many because there's a lot of fan made ones in there too, and they pull from the movie database, which I guess is a site that exists out there. And there's one called like Posterati or something like that they pull from. And there's a lot of really, really cool stuff on there.
So-
I almost always change it.
Oh, do you have to be a pro member to do that?
Yes, that's the whole thing I was going to get into. As long as
Okay.
you're willing to pay
Sorry,
for
I
that
didn't know that.
service, you can go for it. It's one of the perks of being in the oil change business. All right, let's go ahead and move
supporting
on.
the arts is what I like to say.
Let's go ahead and move on to number 2 on Luntz's list of best posters, according to John Lunsford.
Maybe one day I can run my own oil change empire, and then I can just like start
In
getting
Bibb
all
County?
the cool posters on my list.
Yeah.
That's all good. That just seems like a weird feature to paywall, but it is what it is. Number 2, The Phantom Menace. That is a good poster.
All right, Phantom Menace teaser here.
So this is an incredible poster. It's got a picture of, I can't remember the kid that played young Anakin, but
Jake Lloyd.
Jake Lloyd, that's right. He's basically walking in the shadow of Darth Vader behind him. Incredible poster to kind of tease what's to come. I had the normal theatrical poster. I bought it. I don't know where I bought it from. It was like from school. Remember those, like
Scholastic Book Fair.
yeah. I was in like 6th grade when it came out, I think. And so we still had that, and I bought it from that.
I always wanted a Prowler poster. You know, they'd have the Prowlers up there, the vehicles.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my dad was obsessed
Like
with the Prowler.
purple. They
Yeah.
look really great. Was your dad ever a fan of the PT Cruiser?
No. My aunt
okay.
had one. Not
I thought the
thing.
PT Cruiser looked badass until I hit a certain age and then realized that
Hard pass.
it was not a chick wagon. Just don't ask.
How did you come to fall in love with the PT Cruiser, Tim?
I watched Dick Tracy a lot as a kid growing up, and they had cars that looked like the PT Cruiser in there. So can we please move on from this? This is embarrassing.
Anyway, the actual
I just had to
poster.
know.
The actual poster was basically the eyes of Darth Maul and kind of the red and black face all the way down the back.
Yeah.
And then it had like Qui-Gon,
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan was smaller because he was kind of not quite as big a role at that point. It was Qui-Gon, Padme, Anakin, and then like Obi-Wan, Jar Jar Binks, C-3PO, kind of the rest of the cast kind of at the bottom. But that was the first one I remember being like the bad guys in the back and everybody kind of pyramids down based on importance of the movie. But I like that poster because it's just kind of the first one I remember, and all the characters were kind of hand drawn as opposed to pictures. But this teaser poster was really, really, really good. People are making height jokes of you.
I'm trying to write back to
Okay.
them, but I'll go ahead and just respond. I did not get into a PT Cruiser until the age of probably 22. A friend of mine had a PT Cruiser, and I needed a ride home from college, and I got in, and I could not fit in it. And I was like ashamed that I had thought the PT Cruiser was a really badass vehicle at one point in my life. So I wish I'd never said this, but it's part of my DNA.
Can we see you drive a Miata now?
No, I don't think that's going to be
Have
happening.
you ever sat in a smart car before?
I have not.
So my dad and I sat in a
not.
smart car before either one of us really lost a lot of weight, and surprisingly not as tight as you would think it is.
Really?
Really?
Now, I don't want to cruise around town every single day and then go on a vacation, but that was our whole selling point. Was my mom went to go look at one, and they looked at the two of us and said, now, if you two get in there and y'all both fit, you need to buy one. And so we sat in it. It's like, honestly, not that bad, but we don't really want her to buy one.
If I had been driving age when the PT Cruiser came out, I would have ended up owning a PT Cruiser. But it was a mistake because I don't think they've aged very well. I don't think people look at
No.
those and go, that's awesome. But if I ever write some sort of action comedy starring Steve Carell having to be somebody who's patrolling the streets or something, he'll be driving a PT Cruiser at night as his vehicle, his main vehicle. So that'll be in the screenplay. Can we please move on to number 1 of Luntz's list. I'm oversharing today. I'm in an oversharing mood. It's not good for my rep.
Anyway, number one, this was an easy choice for me. However, it is very much a personal pick.
Okay. Appreciate Ryan being in the chat. Godfather poster is a good one as well. Jace says y'all needed a used car sponsor where it's just Melton navigating, getting in and out of cars as a giant. That would work.
If I can get in and out of it, think how comfortable you'll be. Come on down.
I've got a tough conversation to have with you tomorrow about size and vehicles and getting in and out of things, but we've got to have that conversation tomorrow. So that's a tease ahead.
Okay.
I've thought about it all weekend, and I've got to have this conversation with John tomorrow on the live show. So
I'm kind of nervous.
don't be nervous. We just do not have time to get into it today because it's going to be a deep conversation.
And
so
is this related to the unreleased draft topic?
no, it is not.
Okay.
It is not.
Okay.
John, number one is Cloverfield here.
I love this poster.
Let's see it.
You have the ripped off head of the Statue of Liberty, and then kind of the trail going through New York City. I love Cloverfield. I thought the marketing for Cloverfield was incredible. And obviously in the trailer, you see the head come flying through New York City. But this kind of has basically what the Statue of Liberty looks like. And you don't actually ever really see it in the movie. You see the head, but I thought this was a great poster, plus a great movie. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's a classic.
It's better than the Civil War. To be honest, I don't hate the Civil War poster.
Where they're all up in the
They're all
torch.
perched
Yeah.
in the torch.
I kind of like that poster.
Same vibes as this.
Yeah. My honorable mentions were Jaws, Into the Spider-Verse. I mentioned those two. Parasite. I really like the Parasite poster where they all have their eyes blocked out. And the thing is, if you look at it after seeing the movie, you realize you're watching basically the last scene, but you don't realize that. Like if you really look at it close, like the son has a rock in his hand. There's a body on the ground.
Yeah.
You can tell basically what's to come. I guess I just spoiled the movie for people. I like the It Comes at Night poster. I don't know. I don't have pictures of all my honorable mentions, but It Comes at Night is basically there's a dog standing in the grass and it's just looking off into the darkness and it says it comes at night down the darkness. Movie was just okay, but I thought it was a really cool poster. I like the poster for Little Miss Sunshine where it's basically yellow and they're all chasing after the van. I really like the poster for The Social Network where it's just a picture of Jesse Eisenberg's face and it says you don't make 300 million friends without making a few enemies, like in really big text over his face.
What about the Halloween poster?
I mean, the Halloween poster's fun.
Looks so good.
Alien. I have Alien as an honorable mention, the original Alien.
Pulp Fiction. That poster is incredible.
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back, I feel like, has the best Star Wars poster, even though I do love that Phantom Menace teaser poster. Love it. I mean, but Han and Leia is sort of like, in this weird embrace that it looks good.
Silence of the Lambs, really good as well. And then the other one I had was, I had a Ghost Story on there. I don't know if you remember the Ghost Story trailer, but it's basically just
Oh, yeah, I remember.
the ghost with the sheet over his head standing there. And then I also like the Lobster poster. Have you ever seen The Lobster?
I have not seen The Lobster.
Lobster is a very good movie. But based on the premise and everything, it's a good poster as well. Colin Farrell and Rachel Weisz are the two main people in that. And there's kind of a dual poster with the two of them hugging an invisible person that's done really well, really artistic. But those are all my honorable mentions. But I love Cloverfield. I love the Cloverfield poster. I love everything about Cloverfield. I have seen Cloverfield more times than I can count. And I'm sad that it has kind of dried up.
So Hunter in the chat sent me a DM of some art that he did his senior year of high school. And it is of the character of Bane from Dark Knight Rises. I think it looks really, really good.
I like it.
That's pretty good, right?
Yeah, I like that.
Legitimately, that's good.
Show it off to the camera.
I don't know if anybody can see it here, but
It's proof that we got something.
now I've lost it. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it right here.
Yeah.
You see it?
Hold on.
Up there, lower.
Come down a little bit.
Lower. Oh, yeah, there we go.
There you go. It's good.
Yo, Hunter, that is sick.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Now, can you redo it, but with Ryan Brown's face in there?
Pittsburgh.
Now that's a poster we should hang up in here.
Has he stopped doing the Bane impression on the show? I think he has.
It's football season. He's paying attention to more important things, I guess.
Good. Whatever keeps him from doing that god-awful impression, I'm all about. So that is good for us. So that is going to do it for the Luntz's list of movie posters that should be on there. I've noticed that this year there have been tons of red movie posters.
There's been a lot.
There's been red trailers, just the Trap and Smile 2 trailer going back and forth from each other.
You got the poster behind you for A Quiet Place Day 1, which was an exclusive at the theater. Alien Covenant.
Romulus.
Alien Romulus. I've messed it up 15,000 times.
You've already seen it and you still
mess it up. My favorite movie of the year, Alien Covenant.
I had to correct him on Alien of all things.
I mess it up every time. What is it? Monkey Man had a red poster.
Yeah, it did.
First Omen.
Love Lies Bleeding.
Love Lies Bleeding. So many red posters.
Late Night with the Devil was black and red. Trap was black and red.
Yeah.
Deadpool.
Yeah. Deadpool had a lot of red, obviously, but
Night Swim.
Maxine was kind of red in flavor.
Yeah. Lots of red posters for sure.
The Exorcism, Madam Web.
I was scrolling through. Probably I've changed them all with my super rich patron I have here, but
correct.
Yeah, I'm trying
your
to remember
elitist rankings there on Letterboxd.
Typical John.
Eventually, we've got to get into Letterboxd, like telling everybody how to find us on there and everything. John, is there a quick way you can do that, like in a minute or less of like?
Go to meltdown247.com. Up at the top, there is a tab for socials. You hover over that. It has Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, my Letterboxd, Tim's Letterboxd. I'll add Tyler's on there. And you can find all the stuff.
If you want to know immediately what we think of a movie, or if you want to be able to track what we've thought of the movies all year long, where we rank them literally from best to worst, and you're like, I wonder what they thought about this. Maybe it's a movie you catch 3 months later and you aren't finding stuff from the live shows to be able to keep up with where we were on it. Go follow us on Letterboxd. It's the quickest way to get our reviews and our star ratings, because you'll know before Tyler even shows up on our YouTube channel with an Out of the Theater reaction, typically, what he thinks of a movie, because he will update his Letterboxd immediately. Almost out
I'm
of
actually
after
disappointed
movie.
that when I know we're at the same movie, I will look at it almost instantly, and if neither one of y'all has updated it, I'm like, the movie ended 3 minutes ago. Why haven't y'all updated your Letterboxd yet to see what y'all thought about it?
So check out our Letterboxd for sure, but a lot of fun there. Now,
I've gotten in the habit of adding something to my list but not rating it, like while I'm at the movie, and then rating it later, but sometimes being a couple days late on that.
I have waited on a couple of things. It's like, I want to think about this for a little bit, but for the most part, I'm pretty quick with it.
Let's workshop a draft topic for tomorrow, because it may just be the three of us for the draft tomorrow. And I want to think about what you guys may want to do for our draft for Tuesday. So does anybody have any nominations for something that you want to throw out there?
Movie villains.
Movie villains?
I feel like you're getting a lot of super villains that we've already kind of gone through.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we should workshop this off the air and figure it out. I think that's what we'll do. And we'll promote exactly what we're doing. But
Jay said condiments, which for lunch, that list is just empty.
Yes.
That's two things. Two things on there. We'll figure it out. But we want it to be good, and it will be. I promise you that. Lunch's list tomorrow. I'm looking forward to. I'm going to get him that topic, and a lot of fun coming up here on the Meltdown for sure all week long. So make sure you're subscribed so you do not miss a thing. John, we were talking about our retro trailer reaction series that features Vegas Vacation coming up later this week. It's a movie we both love, and it is a movie that has inspired me to be more active there at MyBookie, our title sponsor.
Go to mybookie.ag. Use that promo code next round, and you can play all the fun games they play. I won't say all of them because they go to that weird casino, but you can play all the normal games they play there on Vegas Vacation. You can play in the casino, play blackjack. You can play slots. You can play roulette. You can play craps. You can play all that stuff. Plus, in the live casino, real live versions of those. Or just play in that sports book, play baseball right now, get ready for football season. This week, week 0, you can go ahead and start playing some games there. All at mybookie.ag. Use that promo code next round when you sign up for that first deposit bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere at mybookie.ag.
Awesome stuff there. We will see you again live on the Meltdown tomorrow, 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern. Right here, make sure you hit that thumbs up button for us.